and to all of you to this Villawara Seminarium. Honorable Spiritual Guru Sri M, Honorable Chairman Board of Governors Sri Krishna Kulkarni, Honorable Director of IIM Calcutta Professor Saibal Chattopadhyay, faculty, officers, staff, students, alumni, friends, family and guests. We are immensely pleased to have Babaji amongst us today. May I please request Babaji to kindle the flame of enlightenment and officially inaugurate the event. Chairman Board of Governors to join lighting the lamp. Also our Director, Professor Saibal Chattopadhyay. Mr. Vinay Paranjape, please join us in lighting the lamp. Professor Manju Jaiswal, requesting you to come in. Thank you very much. As the lamp is lit, may its radiance touch each one of you, kindling in you the immortal flame of love, abundance and wisdom, representing the omnipresent consciousness present in each and every one of us. Now I invite our Honorable Director, Professor Saibal Chattopadhyay, to felicitate our guest, Sri M, a truly remarkable individual, a guiding light to humanity in recognition of his invaluable contribution to humanity. Now, I request our Honorable Chairman Board of Governors Sri Krishna Kulkarni to present the bouquet as a token of our appreciation and deep respect to Sri M. I request Director Professor Saibal Chattopadhyay to present the bouquet to our Chairman Board of Governors. Now I request Chairman to say a few words and welcome CM and set the tone of today's event.
So Pranam, welcome to all the students and faculty who have taken time on this summer vacation time to come and be here. My pranams to my teacher and my guru, Sri N. So thank you so much for sparing a valuable time to be with us. I just want to give a brief introduction to all of you about Sri N. Many of you would have already read about him. but it's my duty. Sri M is the president and founder of the Satsang Foundation, is a spiritual master, social reformer, educationist, and a global speaker. Conferred the Padma Bhushan in January of 2020 for distinguished service of high order in spirituality. Sri M's autobiography, Apprentice to a Himalayan Master, published in 2011, was an instant bestseller, and the sequel, The Journey Continues, was published in 2017. He has authored several commentaries on the Upanishads, a brief treatise on the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, Yoga also for the good godless, short stories, a novel, books on spiritual practices, etc. In 2015 to 2016, Sri M led the Walk of Hope, traversing 7,500 kilometers across 11 states of India to spread the message of peace, harmony, and equality for all. It was endorsed by the United Nations as a unique peace initiative. Sri M has also been the keynote speaker at many institutions like the United Nations office in Switzerland, the World Health Organization, the World Bank, Google headquarters in USA, Yahoo, USA. He is regularly invited to various IIMs, IIT Delhi, and Indian Institute of Science at Bangalore. The foundation of which he is the president and founder. The Satsang Foundation also hosts well-attended spiritual retreats across the country where Sri M addresses the audience, answers their questions, and resolves queries. Sri M has been appointed as the Chancellor of the Maulana Azad National Urdu University, Hyderabad, by the Honorable President of India, and also served as the Adjunct Professor of Practice in the Department of National Research Center for Value Education in Engineering at the IIT Delhi to propagate the science of exploring consciousness widely. I would like to share a small good news with all of the IIM Calcutta community. Professor Shaibal Chattopadhyay, his Institute Standing Committee, and other senior professors took a decision recently that they would like to adorn Sri M. It's our privilege with honorary professorship at the IIM Calcutta with the Management Center of Human Values. And very, very kindly he has accepted the offer. We will be learning a hell of a lot. It is going to be a continuous endeavor at IIM Calcutta, which has always led management thought on how to involve and include human values in the curriculum in all programs at IIM Calcutta formally. But this has to be done after deliberation, and it needs the guidance of spiritual masters like Sri M. And so there are no conditions to this. On the contrary, we will be seeking Sri M. We will be going to him for guidance and advice. And thank you so much, sir, for this. With that short introduction, I would like to invite.
So finally, we have the privilege of listening to CM as he shares his profound insights on human values and their integration into the management curriculum. We eagerly anticipate his talk, which promises to inspire us all to embrace a deeper understanding of the values that shape our lives, profession, and the broader society and its organizations. Now I invite Babaji to enlighten the audience.
Can you hear me? Let me start with a small chant, which is from this ancient country of ours. It will be in Sanskrit because Sanskrit is the mother language in those days and even today. In fact, I am pushing hard to introduce the learning of Sanskrit not as a religious language, but as in quote, secular language in this country. We talk a lot, there is much to do. So therefore the chant is Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvina Vaditamaskuma Vidvishavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Now, I don't have to explain Shanti 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 everybody. In all Indian languages, Shanti is right? I think that Shanti starts from the mind of the individual. Not just a social reform, I mean about Shanti or peace, but it has to start from our hearts. If our hearts, when I say heart, I'm not talking about the organ that pumps blood, but as you say in English, heart of the matter. If our minds and hearts are at peace, then we can talk about peace, we can bring about peace, we can get people together. As long as inside we are not peaceful, it's not possible to bring it about through external. We can to some extent, but it won't last because the genuineness of the person who's trying to do that won't be there. If I am always an angry man and I want to bring about peace, it is not going to work. I mean, you will see through very soon, right? When you talk to somebody. And now I'll explain the mantra. It is very important, especially because you are part of that. First of all, before that, let me thank Sri Krishna Kulkarni, or Chief of the Board of Directors, Srimati Nishikanta Bhoyan, who is the convener, and I think also the Dean here, and Sri Saibal Chattopadhyaya, who is the Director in charge, and all the teachers and to use Sanskrit word, all the Upadhyayas who are here, and all the students who are here. All the people in responsible positions and all the people who make them sit in responsible positions. So let me start describing this mantra. You know, teaching is a question of, from my understanding, not just teaching somebody to by heart something, by rote, filling your brain with a lot of material, making you remember them and reproduce them. This is necessary, but it's only part of education. If one needs to make education humanitarian, which means for the good of humanity on the whole, not just to increase your careers, to build your career or to get jobs. That's only one small part of it. It's necessary, I understand. But the most important thing is, does it change one's character? Does it change one's personality? This is the IIM, one of the, I think the oldest institute of management in the country. So what we would love to see is that people, students from this institute are produced, when they go out with their duties, they also understand that their job is managing humanity. Management, it's not so easy. For instance, if there is a manager who puts his fingers into every nitty-gritty of all the things that are happening, it is not going to be a successful management. A manager is one who chooses the right persons and puts them in the job and gets them to do it properly. This is a manager, not like in the army, in the armed forces, there are generals. You know why they are called generals? Because they don't look into particulars, in general. So, which means managing human minds. I'll come to the mantra, but Henry Ford, you know, was the founder, one of the earliest manufacturers of cars, automobiles, Henry Ford. Many people don't know that Henry Ford was not an engineer. He did not know anything about automobile engineering. He learned a little bit afterwards. So when he also had radical views, which maybe right or wrong, he had very radical views. When somebody asked him about exercise, I don't agree with this, I'm just saying what kind of a man he was, radical in his thought process. When somebody asked about exercise, he said, the sick cannot do it, and the healthy don't need it. What I'm trying to say is that he always thought outside the box. This is a very important part of creativity. Think outside the box. You don't have to follow everything that has been said to us. It may be proved wrong. When Einstein came, he proved much of Newtonian physics wrong. Why? Because he was brave enough to think out of the box. Right? So you need a disciplined mind. Now I'll come back to the mantra I chanted, since I've given you background of what it is. When you listen to the mantra, you hear one word repeated 3 times. Can you tell me? Saha. Saha na bhavatu. Saha na upanatu. Saha viryam karavavahai. Saha means you and I together. It's not that when you say Sahana Bhavatu, which means may you and I be protected. Protected from what? First, it means protected from the vagaries of nature. Like right now here, if there is no hall, if lightning comes or the sun is strong, you cannot do anything. You're protected from the vagaries of nature. Or if your holes from which snakes can come in, what can you do? You cannot. So physically it means protection. Sahana. Saha means you and I. May you and I be protected. The other is protected from thoughts which take you away from what you are concentrating on. Take you away from what you want to do. Tempt you away from what you would really want to do. And take you away to some place where you don't know where you're going. So, protection from that. Then protection from the temptations of always seeking only power and not truth. You're always seeking power, you may sometimes move away from truth. Possible. Because sometimes truth may be something which is nothing to be associated with power. However, according to the yogic teachings, when you have found the truth, you also have infinite energy. We will not go into it right now. Let's start with this. So, may you and I be protected. I could have also said, may I and you be protected, but I think you are more important here. You are the ones who are learning. So, may you and I be protected. Then, Sahana Gunaktu, may you and I be nourished. When I say you and I be nourished, means first food. I hope you get good food in the hostel, I don't know. May you and I be nourished. I have also lived in hostels and put up fights because the food is not good. So I don't know. I'm not instigating. So, may our nutrients be properly given to us, may we be properly nourished. It also means mind nourishment. You know, mind nourishment has many facets to this. One is that you get proper understanding of how to think, how to meditate, how to figure out, how to solve a problem. That's one nourishment, which the teachers, if they have sufficiently, can share with you. The second nourishment is good air to breathe, apart from the food that you get. Now I see this campus has a lot of greenery, a lot of trees. So it's also in the interest of the students and teachers to maintain the greenery in a place where you study, which is why in ancient times, the highest philosophy called the Upanishads were taught in forest academies. Reason? Clear air, pure oxygen to breathe, And when you sit under a tree, it's different from sitting in classrooms. When I was in school, when I went to school, I used to look out of the window all the time, especially in the mathematics class, wondering, why am I sitting here? Because there were huge trees around the campus. Why are they not teaching us under the tree? When the weather is good, of course. Now, if you sit under the trees for 1 hour, you'll probably get a sunstroke. I mean, even if the weather is good. So, sustenance, may you and I be nourished, means all these things put together. May I be given the right thoughts, so that I don't grow up thinking, hating somebody. May I grow up taking care of others. These are all important things, because the ancient teaching we have starts with Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, may the entire world be happy. Sarve Santu Niramaya, may everybody be happy. Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, may everything I see become auspicious. Ma Kaschid Dukkava, let no one suffer. This is from the Upanishad. Maybe at a conservative estimate, 2000 years old. So I'm just following this, that's all. I don't say that I have something original to say, but I must say that these ancient teachings that we have got have the seeds by which originality can be grown in our minds. They drop the seeds. For instance, the Upanishad, the Vedas, call humanity Amritasya Putraha, oh sons or children of immortality. It simply means that don't consider yourself to be limited individuals. Your potential is unlimited. Now, if you somehow find out the mechanism to touch the unlimited, use it for the goodness of others. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu, not for one part of the world, but for the entire universe, may everybody be happy. This is again 2000 years old. We shouldn't forget this. And we have been given beautiful pearls of wisdom, and we ignore them and carry on with our lives. If you only go back and look a little bit, you see how life can be improved in many ways. And if your life is improved, others' life will also. Now the second part of the mantra. Saha viryam karavavahai, which means let the virya or the vitality in you and me increase. Now for vitality to increase, you need to eat the right food. Don't touch food which can cause alteration of your mind states. Avoid chemicals that will go in and mess up with your brain. If you want to enjoy internally, there are other ways to do it. Practice of meditation, practice of yoga. You'll enter into a beautiful world which you cannot enter even with ayahuasca. Because that finally interferes with your brain, and in the end you become duller than when you started, although temporarily there is a push. So all these have been laid down. So, Saha Viryam Karavavahai, may the vitality in you and me increase. Ma Vidvishavahai, very simple, maybe not fight with each other. Because, there is a difference between a dialogue, which is called a samvad, and an argument. Argument is that you say I am right, I say I am right. We cannot meet ever. Because if you say you are always right, and I say I am always right, even without looking into a problem, then there will be no solution to this problem. Dialogue is when you and I decide, here is a problem, let me solve it, let's attempt together to find out. And if I know some points, I put it to you, you consider it and say, okay, let's try. It's like two friends sitting in a park on the bench and saying, okay, here is the problem, let's look into it. That is a debate. That is called a samvada, dialogue. The other is an argument. So what they are saying is, let not the argument escalate into a battle. Let us go to understanding each other. This is the mantra with which, in ancient times, the students sat in front of the teacher under the banyan tree. I'm hoping there were no mosquitoes then. And then discussed these matters person to person. Now this is very important. So from there I want to come to this. Unfortunately today, fortunately in one way, unfortunately in the other, fortunate that many more students are coming to learn great things, management, technology, everything. The problem is when there are too many students and the student-teacher ratio becomes small, becomes big. For 100 students, there is one teacher. Very often the personal touch is lost. Now, people say, is there a solution for this? Because many more people want to study and grow. Yes, I understand. But we are working on this particular kind of teaching in which a teacher can select one small group of 4-5 children, take them away, sit somewhere quietly, and today I wonder if many teachers even know the individual names of. So then what happens? There is no personal connection. It becomes like student, one level. Teachers, another level. Now here there are so many teachers, so many teachers. They are all the different people. But we put that level, teacher. So because it is a teacher, we should disagree. Or is a student. Because someone is a student, they don't know. Of course they do. In fact, a good student becomes a good teacher. And a good teacher is one who knows or who understands that the students also know something which we may not know. If that is there, there is a humility that comes from within, where I don't behave that I know everything. When I start there is a possibility that the students also understand this. Once the students understand this, there is a hope that concerns for humanity grows. See, look, you and I, all of us, we may have different names, we may come from different backgrounds, we may have exposure to different kinds of knowledge, our traditions may be different, but we are human beings. Why? Because we have some common factors. Very simple. What are the common factors? Look, for instance, you may be afraid of something. All human beings are afraid of something. You may be afraid of something. I may not be afraid of the same thing, but I may be afraid of something else. Right? You may be angry about something. I may be angry about something else. Right? It may not be the same object. You may be jealous of something. I may be jealous of something. I hope I'm not. But that is the worst disease, this jealousy. It's terrible. You know why? Because it has nothing to do with me. Somebody is growing. I'm suffering. Why is growing? What? Instead of that, you will spend time on growing yourself instead of being jealous. In my home state, where I come from, Kerala, there's two specialities. One is red flags, and the other that it is also the land where Adi Shankaracharya was born. So you see the contradictions. Anyway, we have a saying in Malayalam, Kashandikum Kushimbenum Varinilla. That means there is no medicine for jealousy and baldness. Don't trust all those ads, you will be wasting money and time. And jealousy also, of course, difficult to cure disease. So, all I'm saying, so jealousy, anger, fear, affection, the objects may be different for different people. The common factor is that we all have it. Right? So if we all have it, forget that you may not be hating the same thing as I do, but I may be, but hate as a common factor is there, right? Fear is there, anger is there. So we are made up of all this. Which means what? That there is only one mind. It's working to different sectors. And this mind is what? It's made of anger, jealousy, fear, it's all put together. It's functioning to different points, there is only one. If you accept, or at least say that maybe it is true that there is only one mind, if I change one part of the mind, it has to affect the other part of the mind. There is only one mind. So the change has to begin with me. That's where I am coming to. The change has to begin with me. If I change, teachers come to our school. It's a boarding school. And they ask, what should we teach the children of? I said, first, if you behave in the right manner, the students will also behave in the right manner, because the students are very intelligent. You can't do one thing and teach them something else. They will see through the hypocrisy and tell you that, sorry, but why you are behaving like this, why should we behave like this? So if you live your life, the youngsters will also understand and imitate. And that's where the growth begins. I've also been a warden for a very unruly school in Bihar once upon a time, for 2-3 years. Not like we used to get students who are already married, having children and so on, in +2, CBSE, run by an ashram. I don't want to go into that. And then first year was very tough. Second year, and I started sharing thoughts and said that you may not be always wrong, right, and I may not be always right. Let's start there. Let's discuss, sort it out. And the third year, when I said I am leaving the hostel as a warden and going somewhere, they begged me not to go. He said, please stay on. I think you have kind of cleared my mind. So, since today's subject is human thinking, to make others better, to make humanity in general better, should be always at the back of our minds, because we are a collective universe. We are not single compartments that is split into many, many small parts and each warring against each other. We are one humanity. We have to think about that always. If you think about that, then as you move around, as you grow, as you learn and you go to the outside world, you will have the spirit that all are part of one humanity. If that is there, then I think it should be there in science institutes, management institutes, everywhere. Because ultimately, if you bring out people who manage aggression, then you will have an aggressive world which is sure to create problems and it's a disaster. So while you may be management students, science students, literature, whatever you are, please keep this in mind that the most important thing is the betterment of humanity. Don't forget that. If you keep that in mind, I think everything else will be of use to us. If you don't keep that in mind, whatever you learn will be used in a negative way and we will end up in disaster. I have great hopes for this country and I think we will move ahead, and it is not dependent on politics, it's dependent on human beings, you and me. If we change as human beings, nobody can do it. That's all I wanted to tell you. Too much of talking is also not. Now, we are open to a few questions for 10 minutes or so. asked. Before I close, may I say something that don't imitate me. I was a completely out of the track kind of a person. I was born in a Muslim family in Kerala. Right? You must be wondering because I'm talking Sanskrit. At the age of 19, I went, you don't imitate, parents suffer a lot. I just quit and went off to the Himalayas. While going, I burnt all my bridges. My degrees, my qualifications, whatever I had, don't do it. Dangerous, I feel, I know it now. It was not necessary. But in that fit of giving up, I rolled everything, tied it in a cloth, put a stone to weigh it down and dropped it into the river, in Haridwar, in the Ganga. And then I went down. I spent 3.5, 4 years with my teacher, a barefooted, bare-bodied person called Maheshwarnath. Nobody knows about him because he was not the advertising variety of teacher. He had no banners. He had no, anyway there was no YouTube then. And I'm sure if it was there, he wouldn't have gone. I spent time with him, and when I came out, I became M. 3M, you read 3M. Now this M, when Maheshwarnath Babaji, who belonged to the Natha Sampradaya, initiated me into the practices, he named me Madhukarnath. So this M could mean the name I was born with as a child, which also started with M, and Madhukarnath, which is my rebirth name. Please understand, this was not a conversion from religion, nothing. It's a rebirth of the mind actually, as Madhukarnath. So that is also M. But when people call me M, I am very happy, supremely happy, because M is the first letter of the word Manav in Hindi, human being. Sanskrit, Manushya, M. So this M is not Malabar Gold or McDonald's, it means a human being, Manushya, Manav. So I always think of everybody that way. We are all human beings. Somebody told me a joke. In a nursery school, teacher asked the students to make a sentence using the word beings, B-E-A-N. One child stood up and said, we are all human beings. We are all human beings, if we have enough beings here. So, there's some late coming. With this, I am going to conclude. Please remember this ancient sloka. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. Let the whole universe be happy. Now we are open to a few questions.
Thank you very much, Babaji. So, we are open for questions.
Namaskar, Babaji. I was going through a podcast of yours. So yes, sir. So I am having a lot of questions. Maybe all of them I could not ask here. But one of the question that I want to go to, if you can drive us a midway between the spiritual path and materialistic path that we can go through. And you have been described some higher beings in one of the podcasts. So is we as a human, as a beings, are losing their identity as we are moving ahead of Kali when comparing to the presence of these higher beings? So that's my question.
Your first question, I didn't know that people would be looking at my YouTube. The midway between a spiritual life and material life is what you're saying. Okay, let me tell you this, my dear friend. I am always in midway. Look, I am not wearing any robes which look like religion. In fact, somebody asked me, are you a Gandhian? Because this is khadar, gifted by some good friend. So, when I go abroad, I wear a t-shirt like you. I wear pants and I go and I speak. I have a family. I have 2 kids who are grown up and got married now. So I am leading that life. I am spiritual from my heart, but I lead life in this world. Since I live in this world, I also have to earn my living. If I was a sannyasi, I could have begged. I cannot do that. So I have also to make money for my livelihood. I do that in my own small way. And I think it is possible. You know, when I was with Maheshwara Babaji, my guru, I had this great desire to become a sannyasi. He discouraged me thoroughly. You also forced. He said, you go back, your function is to teach people about some things. You get married, because most of the people who come to you will be people who are married, who have children, who have family. What advice will you give them? If you wear a robe and you have no family, what advice will you give them? So I married, and I have also figured out, we make a lot of fuss about we should go beyond the ego, we should cut the ego, and then only we can become spiritual. There is no better ego cutter than a wife. I'm not joking, seriously. So, in a way, it's nice to live, not in a bad way, facts. So, because in your home, you're living 24 hours with somebody, they know you in all moods. I can put up a smiling mood in the public, but inside what happens, he knows, right? So it's a good way to keep your ego under control. So I suggest, I'm not saying you should get married. It has its own problems like this. I'm saying that you can live in the world and also at heart be spiritual. There is no contradiction in that. You can take off short periods of time when you want to be alone. Come back. The second question is not a question which can be so publicly discussed about the other beings and so on. Let's concentrate on the beings here. Let's not worry too much about the other beings. But this much I have to tell you. If we think that in this universe, vast universe, there is only this earth, which is like a speck of sand in the ocean, on the shores, we must be really limiting our thought process. How can it be that in this vast universe, there is only this earth? Who wrote that? Why? There could be. And you don't see or you don't communicate, that doesn't mean they don't exist. They certainly are, my understanding. And plus the fact that people say, oh, in some planets the conditions are not good for life, there is no oxygen. What is the guarantee that creatures are built in such a way that they don't need oxygen? Maybe they need carbon dioxide. We thought about this. So, I believe, yes, that there are other worlds, and if there are other worlds, there must be creatures out there. But don't fall for all those YouTubes on UFOs coming and taking people away and all that. Use your brain a little bit. But don't rule out that there cannot be life on Earth. Keep it open.
Hello sir, good morning. First of all, I would like to thank you for explaining to us the real meaning of the shloka that we used to chant from our school days. And the question that I had is that how do we handle adversary, especially when you know that the person against opposite to you also doesn't like you. me and like you, and we also don't like them personally, and we always get this negative vibe. But we also don't want to show it, and we want to work with them. We have to work with them. How do you handle that?
I can only tell you how I handle that. I don't know how you will handle this, but how did I handle it? Okay, let me explain this. When I started my life with my Sharnath Babaji, my guru, he taught me to meditate. And the first step in that meditation was, I'm afraid to leave because it is going back. I might become Brahmali soon. He used to ask me to meditate. And his method that he gave me first was what Sri Aurobindo's Guru gave me in the beginning. Oh, you can't hear? You can hear? Okay. So when he first taught me meditation, he taught me what Sri Aurobindo's Guru taught him in Baroda before he went to jail. That was, he said, sit down, close your eyes. Whenever the thought arises, any thought, cut. Not easy. Keep cutting till everything becomes quiet. Use your mind as a sword. This is the first teaching I got. And he said, look at the Ganga as it flows with your open eyes. So, I could succeed mostly, 96%. When the mind was about to become completely free and quiet, one person's image used to pop up. And this was a person who, when I was very young, troubled me a lot. That image would pop up because there was this dislike and hatred in the mind of this guy. If I was reading the Gita, because he came from another tradition, he would take it and hide it or throw it off. It tortured me in many ways. So his face used to come up. So there was no meditation. I could not meditate. One day Babaji, he was very peculiar. Meditating, he came and woke me. He said, are you meditating? I said, yes. What about this guy in front of me? I said, yeah, Babaji, the image is coming. Okay. He said, now I have something to say. Next time, even if that image doesn't come, you conjure up that image deliberately. After conjuring up that image, you imagine that you're putting flowers on his feet and saying, you're also a manifestation of God who has come to teach me a lesson. Keep doing that for some time. I said, now this I cannot. I would rather throw someone cow dung on him there. He said, no, you try it. So I sat down that day for the first time. Actually, there was no image, but I said, let him come. So I had the image brought in front of me, deliberately by my mind, and I thought it was difficult, putting flowers and worshipping him. On the third day of this practice, the image refused to come back. And I was free of it. I'm not saying that for a living person whom you don't like, you want to work with, you should sit closed-eyed and throw flowers. You might think that you've gone crazy. Not that. But do not have hatred to that level that you do not see the good qualities in the person. There may be something. There is no human being who does not have some good quality inside. Look for that diamond somewhere. Takes patience. And if you have to work with that person, you cannot run away, right? Face it. And you don't have hatred in your mind. You may not like him, that's okay, but that deep hatred should vanish. You will soon find the person also falls in color. You will also begin to think that no amount of my being like this is affecting this person, so let me. That's the only solution I have. Because I don't know the circumstances and what it is like. And please don't go tomorrow to that person and put flowers in. Nowadays there are cell phones, somebody else will photograph it.
Namaskar, Babaji. So my doubt is like, how, at what age of a human being, like as we born, we can't go into the spirituality, we can't think in the spirituality. At what age of a specific a certain human being, like if for suppose I am 30 years old, so at what age I have to think in a spiritual way, I have to implement that kind of lifestyle in my life? Like what is the trigger point? Like do I need to wait for some time that I am being somewhere else, and then only I have to or
No. It depends on different people. Different people think of spiritual matters in different stages of their life. Some are, while they are young, the thought occurs to them. I cannot explain to you to this except that perhaps they are made differently. Or if you believe, I believe, if you believe that there is a past, many lives which have an effect on this life, it may be that they come early to spirituality because of the past. Possible. Don't have to believe it, keep it that way. So you can only understand that different people's proximity to the spiritual life differs. I've seen this. Everybody doesn't think of it at the same time. Usually, people begin to think of it when they are in some distress. Usually, I'm not saying everybody. Oh, the great founder of the Sikh religion, Guru Nanak, said, दुख में सिमरन सब करे, सुख में करे न कोई. Which means smaran. Simiran is a Punjabi word for smaran, thinking of the Lord. So in pain, everybody thinks of the Lord. Please help me. Please get me out. But when you are happy, hardly you give thought. You might light a lamp and go on to your office and carry on with life. So, since this life is full of joys and sorrows, in young age you don't feel the sorrow so much, you feel joy. As you grow up, when you face the world and see the sorrows of the world, not only in yours but in others also, then sometimes this question begins to occur. Is this all there is to life, or is there something else coming up? And if that happens, and at that point if you get the right guidance is important, especially in today's world. In fact, there are more guides than those who want to be guided. There are more gurus and disciples. So where will you? So there is a danger, of course. So if you find the right guidance at that point, you might be able to then go into the spiritual. When you say spiritual, it simply means to at least accept the idea that apart from this life, there may be something else. And that something else is not far away, but it is right here in my heart. You know the Kabir song, मुझको कहाँ ढूंढे रे बंदे मैं तो तेरे पास हूँ. Where are you searching for me, my dear? I am here right before you. So, I think that is kind of what I can tell you at this point. Yeah, now, last question, please.
Good morning, sir. So my question is simple and easy. As you mentioned that we all have jealousy, and generally I have seen that if he's my friend, let's suppose, so I might be having jealousy to him. I'm not having jealousy to maybe some any other persons whom I don't know. I'm well versed about his qualities, good qualities as well as bad qualities. And similarly my family or somebody, so why generally it happens like that, we to whom we are well versed, we generally develop jealousy, and how to mitigate that particular thing.
It's very simple if you look at it. How can you be jealous of somebody you don't know at all? It's very simple. A stranger whom you don't know, What jealousy can I have towards that stranger? I cannot have any jealousy. But what if I know somebody closely, then only I have a comparison to make, right? If I don't make a comparison, where does jealousy come into the picture? It doesn't come. It's actually very simple. This is why. Close proximity to somebody, you know how this person is. Sometimes you see his excellent qualities which you don't have, suppose. And then you feel jealous. Like a person on the street whom you don't know at all, what jealousy can you have? You cannot. You can look at a old big bungalow in the Bhagwan road and say, be jealous, where did this fellow build this huge house? Why I don't have one? Unknown person. But that is coming because you see something that the person has done, which you think you cannot do. I am saying instead of that, make it possible. If you see some excellent quality in somebody, instead of feeling jealous, just stop for a moment and think, why is he excellent? Can I also be like that? What is the reason that he is so good that I am jealous of him? What is he working on? How do I reach that status? Then the jealousy is gone. Instead of that, the creativity comes into the picture. It's always good to envy somebody because they have attained something and I haven't. But that should not stay as envy. It should change into creativity. How? I will also try and get there. Then the jealousy, negativity disappears. Get what I mean? Thank you, sir.
So just not a question in that sense. I wonder at times.
Last question.
Last question. Okay, thank you. I wonder at times for a management institute such as ours, where the students are coming from an incredible competition globally at times, nationally, absolutely. And these are brilliant minds who are coming year after year and with us for this program, for example, only for a year. For other program, maybe 2 years. For our PhD, maybe 5 years. But still, it's very small compared to the whole life. How, as a responsible management institute, we even attempt to think something about this deep subject of how human health can be imbibed into this? Because we have so many courses, so much of rules. We are very, very strict in that sense also. You fail 2 courses, you are out of the program. Given all these contents, and they pay a lot to get this education. I'll be honest when I say all this here. Of course, it's not that we are pocketing that money, it's also necessary. It's also necessary to maintain the status of this of this institute. How can we make both ends meet? This is my work.
Look, sir, if you want excellence in today's world, in any subject, you need to have the right establishment to do that. You cannot do that. Those days are gone. When one person will sit under a tree and step, this is gone. So today you need excellence, so therefore you need to do the best and you need to collect fees. All that is true. However, in this process, the important point that ultimately all this is done for the good of humanity should not disappear. That's all I can say. While you do all this, the central point that all this is being done, that tomorrow they will go out, they will be a good contribution to society, they will do good, they will improve things to the best of their capacity, not only for themselves, for other fellow citizens. That idea should also be discussed. I don't think in class.
In the curriculum.
Yeah. Because I don't think it is in the curriculum. I mean, now you're trying to get it into the curriculum, but I think it's an important part. That you all go, I know you must be brilliant minds who come here to study management. Please also understand how to manage humanity, how to bring about a change in human traits, human habits, human values. This also should be part of the curriculum. You may not have much time to spend on it, but definitely have some time where you can discuss this. It can be even heart-to-heart discussion between the teachers and the students. That while you are excellent, can you also make others excellent? Right? I have no doubt that you students are brilliant minds. No doubt. Which is why we are trying to, if brilliant minds can think of humanity as a whole, as human beings, not as separate individuals, then much can be done in this world. Tomorrow, they may go into any field. Even if they go into politics, you cannot dismiss politics because those who are in power, they have a lot of capacity to bring about change. But they should have good minds. Otherwise, they cannot bring about change. So, that's what I think.
Thank you very much, Babaji, in this journey from moving away from competition to cooperation and sympathy. I hope you will keep guiding us time and again. Now I invite both Chairman Board of Governors and our Director to hand over a memento as a token of our appreciation. Request the Director to hand over. Now I request both the Chairman and the Director to present our offer to CM about Honorary Professor of Human Values at MCHV.
This is no guarantee that I all the time.
So I have to say that we are looking for
Thank you very much. With all humility, I accept it.
Happens to be a man of money, an accounting personality. Beyond a point, he started thinking that maybe it is money is the root of all evils. And that's when he started going out to the industry houses, and to the best of my memory, this concept of MCHV is the first concept where industry supported center. The industry came up, all the industries, top industries, Coal India, State Bank, etc. And if the list of the names are there right outside, as you can see. And they said, okay, this is a great idea that if we quest for money and more profit, humanity is possibly taking a backstage. So let's bring it back. We are indeed grateful, sir, for you to come here and allow us to give. And one other thing is, I will request your permission if you allow us to have that what we came thing, doing it here in our auditorium, and we possibly have much wider audience here, and industry also is something because here we could not really invite all of us, but that will be a journey. What I am a part of it, but again, it should be a great. So if you allow us, we will show you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. So as we draw this memorable event to a close, I am filled with gratitude for the incredible journey we have embarked upon today. Allow me to express our sincerest thanks to each and every one of you for your unwavering support and enthusiastic participation. I extend our deepest gratitude to Sri M for gracing us with his presence, for sharing his profound insights on human values. Your wisdom has enlightened us and inspired us to strive for a better understanding of ourselves and the world around us. I would also like to extend special thanks to our esteemed chairman, Sri Krishna Kulkarni, our director, Professor Saiva Chattopadhyay, and all the faculty and dignitaries present here today for their invaluable contribution to this event. Your presence has truly elevated the proceedings, and we are honored to have you with us today. I also extend my thanks to everyone present here, staff, volunteer, individuals behind the scenes who have worked hard, Sumanta especially, to make this event possible. Your tireless efforts have not gone unnoticed, and we are grateful for all your contributions. As we depart from this gathering, let us carry with us the spirit of enlightenment and a renewed commitment to upholding the values that define us as individuals and as community. Thank you once again for your presence and participation. Let us continue the journey forward together, guided by the light of knowledge and power of human values. Thank you for making it. Om Asatoma Sabdomaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Vrittum Manamrutangamaya Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Thank you everyone, and you are all invited to MDC to have dinner with our guests.